I hope you can see my screen. Good morning to all students. See, we are just coming to the part of the unit 1 chapter, in which you see we have already discussed about all the biosynthetic pathways, basic pathways like shikimic acid pathway, acetate pathway, mevalonate pathway, and also we have seen some of the pathways, how they are having influence with 2 or 3 pathways also together. They can give rise to phenolic compounds, flavonoids. These all we have discussed in the last 2 classes. And today we have come to a stage, that is tracer technique. It is also very important to know about these tracer techniques, how they are going to find out the various reactions, various biosynthetic pathways which is happening in the living organism, especially in plants, and even it can be studied in the animals also, the biosynthetic pathways, because we are more interested in studying about the secondary metabolites which are available in the plants, which are mostly used by us. So that is what we are going to discuss today. So tracer, when you are going to study before any subject or any topic, the topic name is tracer techniques. Tracer means when we are telling something, tracing, we want to find out something. So how to find the biosynthetic pathways and how to find the precursor and how it is various structural formulations are made in the chemical reaction taking place naturally in a plant. That's what we are going to discuss today. See here in this slide, living plants considered as biosynthetic laboratory primary as well as secondary metabolites. As we have discussed before, all the living organism, there are various chemical reactions are taking place. So that's why we used to say even our body also is a chemical factory. So you see in this slide different biosynthetic pathway, whatever we have studied, just I have noted down, that is shikimic acid pathway, mevalonic acid pathway and acetate pathway. And now you have to remember this, what is the structure of shikimic acid, what is the structure of mevalonic acid, what is the structure of acetate and acetyl CoA, and how you are forming all these things. You have to remember that is especially isoprenoid units. These all it should come in your mind when you say about biosynthetic pathway means. Anyhow, we are now going to the tracer techniques. Various intermediate and steps are involved in biosynthetic pathway. Is plants can be investigated by means of following techniques. I have just given you some techniques in the following, that is tracer technique, use of isolated organ, grafting methods, use of mutant strains. So these all are the techniques we are going to study today. And tracer techniques, there are many different types of tracer techniques are also there. So we are coming to the definition about tracer technique. It can be defined as a technique which utilizes a labeled compound to find out or to trace the different intermediates and various steps in biosynthetic pathways in plants at a given rate and time. So, in this technique, different isotopes, mainly the radioactive isotopes, which are incorporated into presumed precursor of plant metabolites and are used as marker in biogenetic experiments. Simply reading the slide may not give you any understanding, I can know very clearly. So now you should know that some of the words which came in this slide, the student should have the doubt should be clear. Then it will be easy for you to go into the subject. See, for example, we have told that labeled compound. What do you mean by labeled compound here means? Don't think that is labeled means we used to think something labeling to a product. That is commercially we know that label means something which will be labeled, and even it will be whatever may be the present, we will be knowing by the label. So here the labeling is not that one. Here labeling means incorporating a radioactive isotope to a particular compound. That is called labeling. For example, precursor means you can see we used to study the biosynthetic pathways. In that many times I use this word precursor. Even in your synthetic chemistry also you might have used this word precursor or initial product, initial reactant, like that you might have used many words. So what do you mean by precursor? Because of this only you will get that product, that is the aim. So when you want to get a phenylalanine or tyrosine or tryptophan, whatever you studied before the synthetic pathway, what is the precursor you need? Especially you need pyruvic acid. You need in between a pyruvic acid is needed, or if you want to have erythrose 4-phosphate is also needed. Do you remember we were talking about that? That is 3-membered carbon atom compound will combine with 4-membered carbon atom compound and it will give a 7-membered carbon atom heptalo compound, and then it will cyclize and then it will give shikimic acid. Shikimic acid will be converted into dehydroshikimic acid and then quinic acid, then dehydroshikimic acid, then shikimic acid. That shikimic acid will be converted into prephenic acid. Prephenic acid will be converted into corosmate, and corosmate will be converted into compound like tryptophan, and prephenate can be converted into compound like phenylalanine, tyrosine. These all we might have seen in the biosynthetic pathway. So precursor means what? The initial what you are taking. For example, the product, if you are getting one product, the final product, you need something, an initial precursor. What is the precursor? In there we can see that is erythrose 4-phosphate, or you can say pyruvate, phosphoenol pyruvate. So that compound will be incorporated with an isotope, radioactive isotope, that is called labeled compound. Student, you have to listen to this, because if you know this, then only we can go to the next step and it will understand. So there you have written, utilized a labeled compound to find out or to trace different intermediates and various steps in biosynthetic pathway in plants. Now I think you are clear. See, it will be clear sentence, but it has more interesting understanding. You should understand the clear meaning of that. This technique utilizes a labeled compound. What is labeled compound? A precursor or any compound you are just incorporating with a radioactive isotope, and that is called labeled compound, and that will be injected or it will be inserted into the living organism, living plant, and then after some time, that is what you can say, given time, rate and time, after some time we will be taking the product outside by means of extracting it, and also we will find out what happened to that particular radioisotope present in that particular precursor. That is what they used to do. See, for example, you should remember for a kidney function in the laboratory, what they will do, they will give some diagnostic compound and they will collect the urine and they will find out. Diagnostic compound will be given by orally or by means of, even it can be given by means of parenteral route also it can be given, and they will collect the urine and they will find out what happened, what is the product, metabolic product which you have obtained, and how they will find out. There the radioactive isotope will be present, it will not decay. So by that they can find out the structure, what is the compound have been changed. This is why I am taking this much time, means yes, some understanding is needed for your degree level. See, for example, if you want to know about what will happen to a small compound, for example, I will tell you a glucose, you are just as a food. You want to find out what will happen to this glucose molecule when I take orally. What will happen? So, glucose molecule is having carbon, hydrogen and oxygen is there. So, there are many isotopes are there for carbon. Carbon 14 is there, and oxygen, you can see oxygen 18 is there. So, that isotopes, radioactive isotopes will be incorporated to that glucose and it will be given to the patient or given to one person or to an animal also, it can be given for an experiment. And then when you collect in the urine, you cannot see that glucose molecule will be in the urine. The glucose will undergo metabolism and it will be coming in another form. So, how to find out what is the form it has been excreted or converted? If you want to find out, whatever compound present in that urine or in the excreting, there will be that radioisotope which you have incorporated in the beginning in the glucose, so that you can identify. So, the glucose molecule is converted into water, or it has been water molecule contain that particular hydrogen or oxygen is contained that, so it is converted into water. So, water molecule. So, like that it is possible for you to find out. This is a simple example I am told. The same thing can be done in the plants. For example, you want to find out what will happen to this pyruvic acid. You just, pyruvic acid is having O, carbon, hydrogen is there. So, in carbon you can just take one element, carbon, you just incorporate one carbon atom in the first carbon or second carbon atom is converted into, is just incorporated by means of labeled, it is called labeled carbon atom into carbon 14, and then it is injected into a plant which you have selected, and after some time, that means 1 hour or 2 hours, even 6 hours according to the experiment, I am just simply telling by orally, it is not an easy job, it is by highly technical and biotechnological work. And then afterwards, when they isolate the compound from the root or the stem where they are interested to take, and they will find out what happened to this pyruvic acid, and how they will find out, and they will isolate and they will see in NMR or mass spectroscopy or in any other compound which can be identified by means separating by means of HPLC, and can be detected by means of various instrument analysis, and they can find out the structure. And in that structure, if they are getting phenylalanine, which contain a phenylalanine structure, which they are getting a compound which contain that particular carbon atom which is radioisotope effect it is showing, then it is confirmed our pyruvic acid is converted into phenylalanine. Understand? Can you follow? This is product, and even intermediate product also. This is not very easy. What I am saying is not a very simple job to just to finish it. But anyhow, it is necessary for us to go through very detailed effects are there needed to be done. So, in this technique, different Another method, you just imagine, that is what I am telling is labeled compound means this is the explanation which I am giving. Apart from that, I told you to remember some of the precursor means also you may be knowing. And sorry, there is some disturbance in the audio. Okay, anyhow. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? Are you audible? Okay. So, in this technique, just a minute, there is some disturbance with the audio. Okay, I hope now it is okay. In between there was a call, that is why it has disturbed me. So anyhow, we can see now the labeled compound can be prepared by use of two types of isotopes, radioactive isotopes and stable isotopes. So you see, radioactive isotopes, example hydrogen 1, carbon 14, sodium 24, potassium 42, sulfur 35, phosphate 35, iodine 131, delay with emission of radiation. For biological investigation, we can use carbon and hydrogen. For metabolic studies, sulfur, phosphate and alkali and alkaline earth metal are used. For studies on protein, alkaloids and amino acid, labeled nitrogen atom give more specific information. And hydrogen, that is tritium H3 compound, is commercially available for various experiments. And stable isotopes, hydrogen 2, carbon 13, sodium 15 and oxygen 13, used for labeling compounds are possible intermediates in biosynthetic pathways. Usually method of detection are mass spectroscopy by using nitrogen 15 and oxygen 18, and NMR, nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy, which can give you identification of hydrogen 2 and carbon 13 can be easily identified. This is what usually we are using some identification. So now we are coming to significance of tracer technique. Tracing of biosynthetic pathway by incorporating radioactive isotopes of carbon 14 into phenylalanine, the biosynthetic cyanogenic glycoside prunosine can be detected. Location, quantity of compound containing tracer carbon 14 labeled glucose is used for determination of glucose in biological system. different tracers for different studies. For studies on nitrogen and amino acid, you can use nitrogen, that is labeled nitrogen gives specific information than a carbon. When you are going to study protein or amino acid, nitrogen, that is radioactive isotope nitrogen, will be more specific for use than a carbon. Convenient, this is convenient for suitable and suitable technique, especially tracer technique. And criteria for tracer technique, what is the criteria? The starting concentration of a tracer must be sufficient withstand resistant with dilution in course of metabolism. What is the meaning of that? It is whatever you are using tracer, that means tracer means or a marker, it can be called as marker or tracer, which you are labeled compound you are injecting, they should have a resistance to withstand the dilution in course of metabolism. It can enter into the systemic cycle of any living organism. It should have the capacity resistant with the dilution in course of metabolism. And proper labeling is also very important. Proper labeling, that is physical, chemical nature of the compound must be known. And labeled compound should involve in synthesis reaction. And labeled should not damage the system to which it is used. That is also very important. It should not damage the system or the plant or the living organism where you are injecting or where you are putting that particular labeled compound, should not damage the particular plant or the tissue or wherever you are using it. And advantages of this tracer technique: high sensitivity, applicable on all living organisms, wide ranges of isotopes are available, more reliable, easily administration and isolation procedure, gives accurate result if proper metabolic time technique applied. What are the limitations? Limitations means what all the disadvantages you can take or demerits, what all the things which cannot do it. That is, it can give sometimes in kinetic effect, it may affect this experiment, chemical effect, radiation effect, that is light radiation effect, radiochemical purity, that means what radioactive constituent which you are using or a labeled compound, what is its purity, what is its delay emission, everything should be pure. High concentration distorting the result. High concentration may distort the result. So these all are some of the limitations. So you are coming to the labeled compound produced by, usually there are many techniques, but still we have taken carbon, only carbon we have taken. The labeled compound produced by growing chlorella in atmosphere of, the plant can be grown in the atmosphere of carbon dioxide 14. So carbon compound will get labeled with carbon 14. That is, all carbon compound are carbon 14 labeled in the compound when a chlorella is grown in the atmosphere of carbon dioxide 14 atmosphere. The tritium or tritium, you can say tritium, it is H3, labeled compound are commercially available. Tritium labeling is affected by catalytic exchange in aqueous media by hydrogenation of unsaturated compound with tritium gas. Tritium is pure beta emitter of low intensity and its radiation energy is lower than carbon 14. A simple reaction, you can see it down, a simple reaction is shown for you to know about how when the carbon dioxide can get labeling in an molecule. This is a just chemical reaction. What do you mean by the CH3MgBr? I hope you may be knowing it is Grignard reagent. You might have studied Grignard reagent. The Grignard reagent, when it is kept in or added with carbon dioxide 14, what is happening? You can see that CH3 and an acid COOH, that carbon is 14 isotope with MgBr plus water, and this can give rise to CH3COOH. That carbon is 14, that is isotope is attached. What is the compound name? CH3COOH, acetic acid plus MgOHBr, magnesium hydroxide bromide. So you can see that the acetic acid is getting labeled by means of carbon 14 isotope. Can you see this? This type of things can happen. You can get a compound labeled with carbon 14 when you are growing that particular plant in an atmosphere of carbon dioxide 14. Very simple. Once you have listened to me, it will be easy, for otherwise it will be somewhat tough to know about this. So you have to remember, labeling of a compound means what? And what is isotopes, how the carbon atom is converted into carbon 14 in the acetic acid. This is a simple reaction to show you, it is shown. And now some precaution. Now next slide. Precautions. What are the precautions you have to take? The precursor should react at necessary site of synthesis in the plant. That is very important. The precursor which you are selecting is a labeled compound, should react with the necessary site of the synthesis in the plant. You should not simply add any compound which is not at all related to that particular plant or particular tissue or particular organism. You should select a reactant which is react at the necessary site of the synthesis in the plant. The plant at the experiment time should synthesize the compound under investigation. That is also very important. The plant should synthesize. All plant will have one time, some of them early morning, some of them in time also is very important. So you should know that this compound will synthesize in this plant in this stage, even in the stage also. Stages also, plant stages, that means what is the growing stage of the plant is also very important. So plant at experiment time should synthesize the compound under investigation. The dose given is for short period. That is also, we should not give for a long period. We cannot go for analysis. Short period. So you have to analyze these things very clearly as a precaution. And introduction of labeled compound. How you are going to introduce that labeled compound in the plant for your experiment, because you know you have studied tissue culture and also you know how to laboratory plants can be developed and how you can use you can use the experiment in the lab itself, the biotechnology lab itself you can perform. So you can see introduction of labeled compound, what all the techniques can be followed. Root feeding, in roots can be injected, stem feeding, even direct injecting into the plant, and infiltration can also be done. Floating method can be done for the plant. Spraying technique can also be followed. These all are some of the techniques which can be followed for incorporating or to dosage given to the particular plant for your experiment to study the biosynthetic pathways. Separation and detection of the compound. See, once you have given the labeled compound, next step, after a certain period, you have to separate that compound from that plant and you have to detect. So, separation and detection, how you are going to do? Both are, it's different jobs and it has many procedures, many parameters. We are theoretically, we are telling that it is as if you are taking this and keeping something. No, it is a very, very long procedure and also it is a very, very critical procedure. It needs more experience and also training to perform these experiments. Even I am frankly saying, I don't know. I cannot do because I am not well trained by this type of experiments to do tracer techniques. It needs some genetic engineering person who have good knowledge about how to use these instruments and everything. And now you can see the list. Geiger-Müller counter, you might have studied in your smaller classes. Geiger-Müller counter, which is used for identifying the radioactive substances, isotopes can be easily identified, and even liquid scintillation counter. Liquid scintillation counter is also you might have studied in smaller classes. Gas ionization chamber, Bernstein counter. It is also one type of counter which can be used for radioactive isotopes identification. Mass spectroscopy, which can find out the mass numbers of the compound. NMR spectroscopy, which is nuclear magnetic resonance spectroscopy. By means of magnetic resonance of the compound can be identified, which will give carbon, nitrogen can be easily identified. Even carbon and hydrogen, nitrogen can also be identified. Autoradiography, it's a very good important technique which is nowadays you are using this autoradiography in vitro, in vivo, and also you are a CT scan, which is very common nowadays. Some patients who have go to hospital, immediately they will send for scanning. CT scan, all of them are working in this autoradiography technique. And radio paper chromatography, normal paper chromatography, which we know, that is we are studying this, it is in the syllabus, and also we are going to perform in the experiment also. Many experiments we have to perform in paper chromatography, thin layer chromatography in this semester, and radioactive substance paper chromatography can also be used. So these are some of the things which I have mentioned. How, and apart from that, UV spectroscopy, fluorimetry, there are many things, instruments are also used for identification of chemical structure and what is the change happens to our labeled compound. So this is somewhat importance, some importance. I have shown some instruments which you have studied in your smaller classes. Just students should know what is it, what is about that, and also some of the things which you are going to study in the future semesters in analytical chemistry also. You should know what is it. Simply studying the name will not help you. So that's why these are also important to know about that. Am I audible, dear students? Can you hear me, please? Can you hear me? Is it my audio is audible to the students? Ah, yes, thank you, Selna, thank you, Sona, everybody has said thank you. Okay, let us continue. Yes. See now, Geiger-Müller counter. A Geiger-Müller counter is a device used for the detection and measurement of all types of radiation, alpha, beta and gamma radiation. Basically, it consists of a pair of electrodes surrounded by a gas. The electrodes have a high voltage across them. The gas used is usually helium or argon. When radiation enters the tube, it can ionize the gas. You might have studied these procedures, this principle. It can ionize the gas. The ions, that is electrons, are attracted to the electrode and electric current is produced. When this electric current is produced? Only when the radioactive substance comes to that particular gas. So that is why you can find out that the electric current impulse will give you the reading how much amount of radioactive isotopes have been come to that particular instrument. So yes, a scalar count the current pulse and one obtained a count whenever radiation ionize the gas. So this is the main method of Geiger-Müller counter. And scintillation counter little more advanced. Just we are using a photomultiplier tube, that is PMT they have written. Photomultiplier tube, that is one electron will be multiplied very minute, that is detection can also be multiplied and you can just find out even very minute radioactive substances which will be one electron, or one electron can be multiplied into many electrons by means of and many anodes will be present, many anodes, only one cathode will be there and many anode plates will be there which will be reflected inside. That is why it is called photomultiplier tube, which will be present in scintillation counter. Scintillators are used in conventional film screen radiography. Many digital radiographic receptors, fluoroscopy, scintillation cameras, most CT scanners and PET. PET means you should know it is a scanner, that is positron emission tomography. Scanner positron emission tomography. This one is also a one type. This why we are telling is even this counter is present in the scanners which normally available. The scintillation detectors consist of scintillators and a device such as a PMT, that is photomultiplier tube, that converts the light into electrical signal. More sensitive than Geiger-Müller counter. Widespread detection. The principle behind is also I have given. The incident radiation interact with material and atoms are raised to excited states. Excited states emit visible light, fluorescence. Light strikes photosensitive surface. Release of photoelectron multiplication. Okay, somebody says the audio is not clear. Let me see, some call was coming and it was disturbing maybe. 1 minute, just I will take a break and I will correct it. I hope that is the reason there is some audio is not proper. 1 minute. We will just close down. If we close down this one, I hope it will be okay. Am I audible now? Femina, I think Femina told me audio is not clear. And even Archana also sent me a message, audio is not clear. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Am I audible now? Yes. Thank you. Thank you for your reply. Maybe due to this mobile somewhat it is disturbing you. Just I removed it. And now you can see that this scintillation detector, scintillation counter is also an advance from a Geiger-Müller counter. That is what we have given an explanation. You can see the picture also, which shows a cathode which is present in the photo tube or photo multiplier tube, where there are many anodes are there to multiply the electrons which will fall and which will be reflected, and you will get a small impulse of electrons can also be identified, which comes from the radioactive isotopes. So now we are coming to what is autoradiography. This is also one type of method which is used to detect and to find out about the structural changes, and also to know about the study of even labeled compound which is incorporated or which is injected, which is injected in that particular plant, and then you are going to detect. So detection can be done by radiography also. So detection of radioactive compounds with photographic emission, X-ray film. This type, there are two: in vitro photography and in vivo photography. What do you mean by in vivo photography? In vivo means inside the living cells or living tissue. When you are doing some observation, even it is done in the CT scan, and also it is done in the CT scan, or you can see as normal scanning. You can go for scanning for the any hospital when you go for any type of problems which is inside your body, or some fracture or sometimes accident, immediately they will send you for CT scan. So that scan also, it is also involved in autoradiography. So receptors are labeled intact living tissue by systemic administration of radioligand, that is positron emission tomography. In vitro autoradiography means outside, after isolating the cell and tissue, it can be done in the laboratory. Slide is mounted tissue section and incubated with radioligand, so that receptors are labeled under very controlled condition. What is its use? Map anatomical location of radio labeled ligands to visualize and quantify receptors in tissue. Trace neutrons by axonal transport of radioactively labeled amino acid, certain sugars or transmitter substances. Measure DNA production. Example, you can see thymidine by means of tritium H3 can also be used by this autoradiography. This is simply to show you a picture I have shown in the slide, and that is by, you can see that scanner, CT scanner which is available, and how they are giving the skull picture, and also sometimes they used to give some radioactive isotopes, can be diagnostic, can also be given in the bloodstream to identify which part you are having the issue or problem, can be also identified. When radioactive isotopes in a ligand decays, it can be measured by positron emission tomography, PET, or a single photo emission. And this is about the in vitro autoradiography, where in this you can see a tissue can be taken and it can be section can be kept in the slide, and you can radioactive ligand can be binded with the tissue, and it can be used for the various study, and you can say for imaging of the scan can also be obtained by using a computer, and digital audio radiogram can be obtained, and it can be even quantified. Amount also can be quantified, determination can be done. So that is what we are explaining in vitro autoradiography. And now this is about a small definition about mass spectroscopy. Mass spectroscopy is an analytical technique that measures the mass to charge ratio of charged particles. It is used to determine masses of the particles for determination of element composition of a sample or a molecule. and for elucidating the chemical structure of the molecule, such as peptides and other chemical compounds. Especially mass spectroscopy works on ionization. And also if you study, you will be studying in detail about this instrument in your it's a modern method of analytical chemistry. It is coming the next semester and all, it will come and you will be studying. But anyhow, this time, this junction, you should know what is mass spectroscopy, how it works and how it is useful for identifying the structure of a molecule, structure of a compound. So you see NMR spectroscopy, NMR means nuclear magnetic resonance. So any compound which you are keeping a magnetic resonance, that it will have a resonance and it has a shielding and de-shielding effect in their molecules itself. So by that you can find out what is the number of carbon atom, number of nitrogen, number of hydrogens can also be identified by means of this magnetic resonance which is developed to the compound. So NMR spectroscopy is a research technique that exploits the magnetic property of certain atomic nuclei to determine the physical and chemical properties of atoms or the molecules in which they are contained. It relies on the phenomenon of nuclear magnetic resonance and can provide detailed information about the structure, dynamics, reaction state and chemical environment of the molecule can also be identified by means of NMR spectroscopy. So these all are instruments which is needed for you to know about, is used in the tracer technique for detecting the structure, because tracer technique means students should come back again and again listening. When you are listen to me in this class, you don't forget what we discussed in the first slide. We told labeled compound is precursors are used in plants for identifying the pathways. So first you inject and then after some time you are isolating them and then detecting them, what is the change happened to them. This is what we are identifying. For that, these all instruments are needed for your various testing and to get for a conclusion. Now there are many methods also there. There is different methods are there in the tracer technique. What are they? If you see method in tracer techniques, 1. Precursor product sequence. Precursor product sequence. It is the initial one. So in this technique, the presumed precursor. What do you mean by presumed precursor? Decided precursor with labeled compound, or this is the precursor for producing this compound. As we have discussed previously, I was telling about pyruvic acid is responsible to produce the phenylalanine, means we are taking pyruvic acid, or you can take phosphoenol pyruvate, or you can take erythrose 4-phosphate, or you can even cyclamic acid. If you take cyclamic acid is responsible to give phenylalanine, you can go for cyclamic acid also as a precursor. So in intermediate product, what is the intermediate product? Or you can take an amino acids responsible for various steps. So here you can see that. So a labeled form to feed into the plant, and after a suitable time the constituent is isolated, purified and radioactivity is determined. What is happening in this technique? In this technique, the presumed precursor of the constituent under investigation on a labeled form is fed into the plant, and after a suitable time the constituent is isolated and purified and radioactivity is determined. Disadvantage: the radioactivity of the isolated compound alone is not usually sufficient evidence that the particular compound fed in directly as a precursor, because the substance may enter into the general metabolic pathway and form there may become random distribution through the whole range of product. So this is not this. When you inject some precursor, it is not necessary what you are thinking. For example, if you think that tropane is responsible for hyoscine, I am just little advanced, I am just telling, because hyoscine or hyoscyamin are present in datura, or if you see sometimes if you go for an any type of study, you can find out sometimes some precursors, you know, that synthetic pathway, like when you are adding that pathway, it is not necessary it should go only in that pathway, it can go in another way. Suppose you are using an amino acid, it can go for another pathway also, the same amino acid can enter. So that will cause sometimes difficulty you to control which products is responsible to give this product. So that is what this disadvantage in this experiment. And you see an example application of precursor product sequence is stopping of horridinin production in barley seed. Is an example. What is the research they have done is an example. Production of barley seeding in 15 to 20 days of germination. They have seen, they have stopped the horridinin production, and restriction of synthesis in hyoscine. Hyoscine is a main constituent present in datura and distinct from hyoscyamin in datura stramonium. So this is one type of experiment they have done. Hyoscine and hyoscyamin, a slight difference in their structure. So they are restricting the synthesis of hyoscine and distinct from the hyoscyamin in datura stramonium plant. And this method is applied to biosynthesis of morphine and ergot alkaloids. Morphine is present in opium, which is a narcotic analgesic, very common drug, and also very interesting drug. In the very olden days, they all dependent on this morphine. So morphine and ergot alkaloids biosynthesis also applied by means of this precursor product sequence method. And you see next one, double and multiple labeling method. What do you mean by this double and multiple labeling method? In one compound, if there is a carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, two carbon can be labeled and nitrogen can be labeled and oxygen can be labeled. What do you mean by labeled? Labeled means you should know that incorporation of radioactive isotopes. Carbon will be converted into carbon 14. Or oxygen will be converted into oxygen 18, nitrogen will be converted into nitrogen 15, like that radioactive isotopes are incorporated in the particular structure is called labeled. Don't forget, again and again I am repeating, this is very important for the students to know when you are studying this tracer technique. It will never make you any disturbance. When you read, you will understand. Understand, this method gives an evidence for nature of biochemical incorporation of precursor arrays, double or triple labeling. In this method, specifically labeled precursor and their subsequent degradation of recovered product are more employed. Application, this method is extensively applied to study of biosynthesis of plant secondary metabolites, used for study of morphine alkaloids, this also. And you can see an example also I have given for double labeled lysine used for determination of hydrogen of lysine molecule was involved in formation of piperidine ring of anabasine in Nicotiana glauca or glauca. So you can say Nicotiana glauca is the plant where it contains an anabasine structure. You can see anabasine or anabasine structure. You can see in this chemical reaction which I have shown down, there is an pyridine ring and as well as a piperidine ring. You have to remember your basic chemistry, organic chemistry, what you studied in heterocyclic compound. Here I have not mentioned about the name. You should know that anabasine, it is connected, that is one is pyridine ring, that is 3 double bonds in a 6-membered ring with 1 nitrogen. You can say it is pyridine. And then you can see there is a 6-membered ring with nitrogen without any bond, that is piperidine. So a pyridine ring and piperidine ring is there. The main component, what you want to find out, you see here lysine, they have taken lysine is the responsible to produce. They have injected this lysine. This lysine is what happened? They have made even the carbon atom. There is a star you can see in the structure. I hope, can you see the star? Can you see the star in the structure? One corner and also a nitrogen is also one star and dot is kept in the first line. Can you see it? Can you see it? Anyone please answer message? Yes. Thank you, Sona. Can you see? That is, you can see that is what the first one, the bigger dot shows the carbon atom is made into carbon 14. Carbon atom is made into carbon 14. And you see the nitrogen also, there is one dot is kept, NH2, near to that one bend NH2, there is one dot is kept there. That means the nitrogen is also N15. Okay, N15, it is made into N15, and that is also labeled compound. So this lysine is labeled with two isotopes. One is nitrogen and one is carbon. And you see, when the product comes, anabasine, the product comes, you can see the dot. See, it is not seen the nitrogen, there is no dot in the product of pyridine structure. You can see in the piperidine structure, you can see the two dots. Can you see it please? Did you observe this in the product anabasine? Please give me a reply. Can you watch that? Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So, you see what this is a confirmation. That is why I want to stop here. The students should understand this is how they will find out. So, they know that these two compounds, this lysine is fully responsible for production of piperidine, not for pyridine. So, they have even the second reaction also. You can see the second reaction, same. The reaction is not different. Only one carbon atom alone you are making into labeled by radioisotope. Can you see the only one star is there? Can you see this? The second reaction, there is only one star is there. Can you see it, Julie? I think you said yes for the previous one. Now, can you see it? Can you see it? This one, in the second reaction, only one star is there in the carbon. Yes, that is good. So, you can see that is you are keeping only carbon atom alone is labeled in this lysine, and you can see the reaction product anabasine, it is also having only star in the piperidine ring. It is not the carbon atom, even the pyridine ring also having carbon, pyridine ring also having nitrogen, but we are not noticing any type of star or any type of isotope compounds in the piperidine ring. So, this is one example a student can clearly understand the labeled compound, how they will find out when a product comes outside, when they are isolated and detected, and they can identify this compound is responsible in the formation of this structure. Can you follow me? This is how they used to identify. This is a simple example which will give you some idea for the student. If you read again and again, see, this is only a small information I am giving. It is a wide subject. Students can even refer more and more by means of internet source. There are many sources. You can increase your knowledge more than what I am saying. It is possible for you to, if you are interested in biotechnology and to study about the structural things, chemistry, you can go in more detail. It will be interesting for you to, because anyone, it's not necessary he has to go for many higher studies, PhD or something, then only he can do research. No, any level, it is not necessary. You can see many of the people, they found any time. So, it is possible even in this time also, if you are more interested, refer more and make yourself comfortable. That is, I am something. I have something behind. I can do something and read. And now we are coming to the next one, that is competitive feeding method. This is the next method, competitive feeding method. Can you hear me please? Am I audible? Am I audible? I have a just doubt. Hello? Yes, thank you. And competitive feeding, if incorporation is obtained, it is necessary to consider whether this in fact the normal route of synthesis in plant, not the subsidiary pathway. Competitive feeding can distinguish whether B and B dash is normally intermediate in the formation of C from A. You see, I have shown a picture down and it shows that A gives C, but it passes to two ways, maybe B or B dash. So this experiment can easily confirm you whether C is formed from A through B or B dash. It is also one type of experiment which will give you more idea for various structures. So what is the intermediate product? There will be many product which is similar, but still the intermediate product will be decided by means of this technique. This is also a tracer technique, one type. That is the second one, competitive feeding type. Example for competitive feeding is shown in this slide. You see here, this method is used to elucidate of biogenesis of propane alkaloids and biosynthesis of hemlock alkaloids. There are two alkaloids in hemlock, the many but still main common, conlin and conhydrin. An example, biosynthesis of alkaloid, conium maculatum, that is hemlock, using carbon 14 labeled compound. See the chemical reaction below. It shows a compound. Initially I did not mention the name because students should find out what is that. You see, NH2, CH2, 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 CH, NH2, COOH. What is it? What is the name of that? It contains amine group and an acid group and also one more amino group. So it is very clear it is an amino acid. It has amino acid with 4 CH2 in between and there is an acid group. So what is the name of that? It is lysine. Lysine. It is a basic amino acid which contains 2 amino group. So amino acid, aliphatic amino acid. This amino acid can be converted to conlin. We have not shown any star or anything, that is we can show even, but still without that I have just taken the reaction alone because last reaction I have already told. So you can just even make nitrogen as a labeled nitrogen or carbon as a labeled nitrogen, carbon or labeled oxygen can also be done. You see, this lysine gives conlin and down you see poly-beta keto acid. It is also giving a compound. What is the name of that compound? It is also dihydroconilin. Dihydroconilin can give rise to conilin. I have put another arrow in the top also. So here also it can give, another way it can give conhydrin. So the question is whether lysine is forming conlin or poly-beta keto acid is forming conlin. Both of them can give conlin according to theoretical knowledge. Understand? So, but they have found out that lysine is responsible for conlin. So, this type of which one the product which is responsible for conlin, can lysine can give conlin or dihydroconilin which is formed from poly-beta keto acid can give rise to conlin. So, this is what we can identify very clearly in competitive feeding type of tracer technique. That is, we have given the explanation whether to form A to C which can come across B or B dash can be identified in competitive feeding technique. Now, isotope incorporation technique in tracer technique. This method provides information about the position of bond cleavage, their formation during reaction. Example, glucose 1-phosphatase cleavage as catalyzed by alkaline phosphatase. This reaction occurs with cleavage of either carbon oxygen or phosphorus oxygen bond. So you can see that here down the reaction, it shows a glucose molecule, that means phosphated glucose molecule, which is converted into, for example, it is the phosphate molecule and carbon oxygen bond or phosphate oxygen bond is having a cleavage, and it gives glucose and phosphoric acid. So that one makes you to understand. If suppose you can even label the phosphate, you can even label the carbon, and you can go for study by means of isotope incorporation method. This is also one method, very simple. Primary metabolic pathways can be studied by means of this method. And you see sequential analysis. The fifth one is sequential analysis. Sequential, this principle of this method of investigation is to grow plant in an atmosphere of carbon dioxide 14. It is an isotope that in the atmosphere, when you grow that chlorella, you have seen incorporation can be done. Then analyze the plant at given time intervals to obtain the sequence of which various correlated compounds become labeled. So labeling can be done by sequential analysis by means of growing the plant in an atmosphere of carbon dioxide 14. So application, carbon dioxide 14 and sequential analysis have been successfully used for elucidation of carbon in photosynthesis, determination of sequential formation of opium, hemlock and tobacco alkaloids, explore as less as 5 minutes. Carbon dioxide 14 is used in detection or detecting biosynthetic sequence as pypridone, menthol in mentha preparata. These are some of the examples which they are doing. Then finally we are coming to the application of tracer technique. When you come to an application of tracer technique, you can see that one, study of squalene cyclization by use of carbon 14 and tritium, that is hydrogen 3 labeled mevalonic acid. You may be remembering squalene is responsible for production of cholesterol, and from which various steroids are produced. Last class we have discussed. So study of squalene cyclization by use of how the squalene is formed. It is formed from 2 molecules of farnesyl pyrophosphate. So that is why the 30 carbon atom compound squalene gets cyclized and gives dehydrolanosterol, and lanosterol is converted into cholesterol. Do you remember? Last class we have studied. So that is studied by using carbon 14, hydrogen 3 labeled mevalonic acid. And number 2, interrelationship again among 4-methyl sterols, 4,4-dimethyl sterols by use of carbon 14 acetate we are using. And number 3, terpenoid biosynthesis by chloroplast isolated in organic solvent by using a 2 carbon 14 mevalonate molecules can be used. And study the formation of cinnamic acid in pathway of coumarin from labeled coumarin is also possible by this technique. And another next application is origin of carbon, nitrogen atoms of purine ring structure system by use of carbon 14 and nitrogen 15 labeled precursor. It can also be studied. Study of formation of scopolamine by use of labeled phenylalanine can be done. And number 7, by use of calcium 45 as tracer, found that the intake of calcium by plant from the soil, calcium oxide, calcium carbonate can be identified. By adding ammonium phosphate labeled with phosphate 32 of known specific activity, the uptake of phosphorus is followed by measuring the radioactivity as label reaches first in low part of the plant than the upper part, that is branches, leaves, etc. can also be studied. And the next one, there are many other methods used in biogenetics investigation in tracer techniques. Some of the things which you should know, that is, one is isolated organ tissues and cells, which by means of tissue culture, whatever we have studied, apart from their grafting, which we used to do in the gardening, in this house garden, we used to do for flowers, for color changing in the roses, children are in the home, mothers may be doing, and mutant strains also can be used. So this is a picture just to show you. You can see that how a stem is cut and that particular, that is scion wood is inserted, scion is inserted, grafted in the another plant, and you will get a new one. A hybrid variety or new varieties can be prepared. And that is what the same thing you can find out even biosynthetic study also. One can be grafted in another and we can find out what is the chemical constituent produced by this plant to the other and which plant is responsible for the exact production of the constituents can also be easily identified. You can see both the pictures, and you can even round by means of a thread, and so that it will have a compact thing with a cells to cells contact, and so that they will have the natural interchangeable activities of their biochemical reactions. And isolated organ tissues, this method is based on using isolated parts of the plant's stem, roots. This technique is useful in determination of site of biosynthesis of particular compound. Example, roots and leaves for the study of Nicotiana and Datura petal, disc for the study of rose oil, tropane alkaloids in the root of Solanaceae family. Grafting methods, this method is used for the study of alkaloid formation by grafted plants. Example, tomato schizones grafted on Datura produces alkaloids. So when a tomato schizon grafted on Datura produced alkaloids, which Datura schizon grafted on tomato, less quantity of alkaloids. So that shows that the site of alkaloid is produced in the root of Datura. So that's why this type of conformation can be done by means of this grafting technique. So that's an example to identify. And this is again a picture how to graft iodine schizon wood, and cambium have to be scraped in a side way by means of a knife, and then slope, it should be a sloping cut, and then it should be kept in the root stock, so that you will get the tomato in the Datura or Datura in tomato. This is only a plant which I example. All the plants can be done by means of grafting. And use of mutant strains. In this, mutant strains of microorganism are produced with a lack of certain enzymes. So you can see example, that is gibberella mutant. Gibberella mutant is the one of the mutant which is gibberellins, which is growth hormones, which we studied, which has been identified in Tokyo, that is in Japan. They found out that plant was growing unusual, and they found out this is the mutant. This is the organism which is responsible for giving growth, more cell division. So that they found out this is a hormone which is responsible for growth hormone. So gibberella mutant is used to produce isoprenoid compounds. Lactobacillus acidophilus is used for mevalonic acid pathway for isoprenoid biosynthesis. And enzymatic study, photohormone auxin, that is not auxin plays critical role in regulation of plant growth and development. That is indole 3-acetic acid IAA has been recognized as a major auxin which is synthesized in plant is still unclear. But you can see previous genetic and enzymatic study demonstrate that both tryptophan aminotransferase of Arabidopsis, that is TAA, and UC, that means YUKC, it is an flavin monooxidase enzyme like protein are required for biosynthesis of IAA, that means indole acetic acid, the structure of one auxin during plant development. They are growth hormone. So it is TAA, tryptophan aminotransferase of Arabidopsis enzyme family produces indole 3-pyruvic acid, IPA, and the enzyme YUC family function is conversion of that is indole pyruvic acid to indole acetic acid. So indole pyruvic acid is converted into indole acetic acid in plants for their secondary metabolite, which is the hormone which is very useful for their development. In Arabidopsis they have identified, that is Arabidopsis thaliana is this is the thaliana, that means Arabidopsis thaliana. This is a very simple small plant which is grown as a shrub. This is the study they have taken, and this is just to show you about a cell also have various reactions can be studied by means of isolating a cell in biotechnology. Just a picture just to show you, and that's what I want to tell about this class, and especially in this class. Wait a minute, let me pause.